Good morning, grade sevens. Okay, today we are working with equivalent forms. We are busy with activity 7.9 and we are going to convert common fractions to equivalent fractions, decimal fractions, and percentages. Now, we've done this before, nothing new. So let me start. Okay, I always start with the easiest one. Percentage, taking a percentage to an equivalent form with 100 at the bottom. Now we know that when you see the percentage sign, you know that that's 25 out of 100. So I write that over here. 25 out of 100. That's my equivalent form. Now, to write that as a decimal fraction, I can see I have two zeros, so I'm going to need two zeros after the comma, two spaces after the comma. So I just put my 25 right in there. That's 0.25. How do I write that as a common fraction? I need to do what? When I see a fraction, I need to, the word simplify. Do you get that, Ben? Okay. 25 divided by 5. 25 divided by 25. 100 divided by 25. 25 divided by 25. 1. 100 divided by 25, 4. So that's my common fraction. Let's move on to the 60. Percentage, 60%. That is the same as 60 out of 100. Okay? Now, I'll go over to the decimal. To write a decimal, I need to see how many zeros, two zeros, so I need two spaces after the comma. That will be 60, 0.60. How do I write that as a common fraction? I need to simplify this fraction. I do that. 1 0 at the top, 1 0 at the bottom. I'm left over with 6 on 10. I can divide that even further. I can say divided by 2, divided by 2. 6 divided by 2 will give me 3. And 10 divided by 2 gives me 5. Okay, next one. Let's go to 0.5. How do I write that as an equivalent fraction? Well, 0.5, 1 0 after the comma, that gives me 5 on 10, which is exactly the same as what on 100? 10 times 10. So I've got to say 5 times 10. That will give me 50 on 100. How do I write that as a percentage? Now that I have the denominator as 100, I can say, well, that's easy. That's 50%. Okay, so if I go back to this side, common fraction, 5 on 10. I need to simplify that. I always write a common fraction in the simplest form. That will be 5 divided by 5, 10 divided by 5. So 5 divided by 5 will give me 1. 10 divided by 5 will give me 2. That's a half. A half is exactly the same as 50%. Now I have 3 on 4, 3 quarters. To write the equivalent fraction, I need to write the fraction. I need to have the denominator as 100. How do I get from 4 to 100? 4 times what gives me 100? 4 times 25. What I do at the bottom, I have to do at the top. 3 times 25. 3 times 25 gives me 75. Now I have 75 on 100, and I want to write that as a percentage. So if I got 75 out of 100 for my geography test, I would have 75%. How do I write that as a decimal fraction? I see I have two spaces after the comma. That will be 0.75. Okay, let's go back to 4 on 5. 4 on 5. How do I write that as an equivalent fraction with 100 as the denominator? 5 times what will give me 100? Shane, 5 times 20. What I do at the bottom, I need to do at the top. Keenan, 4 times 20. 80. 80 on 100. How do I write that as a decimal? 0.80. How do I write that as a percentage? 80 out of 100 for my English test. Congratulations, Lance. 80%. Okay, now let's go to the top one. 7 on 10. How do I do that equivalent fraction? I've got to write it as an equivalent fraction out of 100. 10 times 10 and 7 times 10. That gives me 70 out of 100. So if I had 70 out of 100 for my test, what would I have, Kesia? I would have 70%. How do I write that as a decimal fraction? I'm going to have a comma. Okay, Keegan? Comma. How many spaces after the comma? 2. 1, 2. So I'm going to have a 70. 0,70. Now the last one. 1 on 8. Now, I immediately see that 8, I cannot write an equivalent fraction with the denominator as 10, and I cannot write it as a denominator with a 100. So I need to have that as with a denominator of 1,000. This is something that you have to know. 1,000 divided by 8 is 125. 8 times 125 will give me 1,000. So I've got to do exactly the same at the top. Yes, Lady O, are you ready? 1 times 125. I think you can manage that. That's, yes, 125. How do I write that as a decimal fraction? Easy, 0, 1, 2, 3 spaces, 125. And now the tricky part, percentage. I know a percentage must be out of 100. So I had to say divided by 10 divided by 10. Now 1,000 divided by 10 gives me 100. 125 divided by 10. I'm going to move my comma from that position to that position, which means my percentage will be 12,5%, or I could write 12.5%. Okay, that's it. Now the next part. Now here they give me a figure, and I've got to work out what the fraction is going to be, what the decimal will be, and what the percentage will be. So what I do here, I count how many blocks in total. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3. 8 times 3, 24. I have 24 blocks. My fraction will have a denominator of 24. Let me write how many parts are colored in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got 6 at the top. But now I know I need to simplify the fraction. I cannot leave it like this. I need to simplify. So I'm going to say 6 divided by 6. 24 divided by 6. 6 divided by 6. 1. 24 divided by 6. 4. So I've got a quarter as a fraction. How do I write that as a decimal? To be able to write it as a decimal, I need to change it into it with a denominator of 10, 100, or 1,000. I can go to 100. So if I wrote an equivalent fraction, I would do it like this. 4 times 25, 1 times 25, that gives me 25 on 100. Decimal, 0, 1, 2 spaces, 1, 2 spaces. 25. Percentage. 25 out of 100 for my Afrikaans test. Prachtig man. 25%. We're going nowhere with that mark. Okay, next one. Write the fractions as decimals. Now I have 6 wholes and 70 on 100. How do I write this? Well, 6 is my whole number, so that will be in front of the comma. And 70 out of 100, 2 spaces after the comma because I have 2 zeros, and there I add in my 70. If you wrote it like that, also correct. 6,7, exactly the same thing as 6,70. Now I have 25 and 86 out of 1,000. 25 is my whole number. Oink, comma. 86 divided by 1,000. How many spaces after the comma? 1, 2, 3. Where do I add my 86? I had it right at the back. Here we go. 0, 8, 6. Next one. 8. That's my whole number. 8. Okay, and now 3 out of 1,000. How many spaces after the comma? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Where do I insert my 3? Right at the back. There we go. Okay, peoples. Let's move on. 1,000 over 1,000. Okay. Doing, doing, doing. Why did I do that? Because 1,000 divided by 1,000 and divided by 1,000 at the bottom will give me 1 on 1. That's the same as 1 over 1. And that is the same as 1 or 1 comma 0. As easy as pie. Okay, people, have a lovely day. I will see you again. Work hard. That test that we are writing on Friday, I'm asking this. Okay, this part is extremely important. I'm asking a lot of this, and yesterday's work where we worked with a 19 Rand and 20 cents divided by 2 people, I'm going to ask you questions like that. Okay, concentrate, work hard. See you then. Bye.